Hi, I've been looking forward to this session that's happening right now for the next 15 minutes all afternoon. We're joined by Dr. Charles Harris Jr., Vice President of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to talk about tech leadership in the NFL, innovation, infrastructure, and the path toward AI. Charles, thank you for joining us. It's brilliant that you can give us your time. Thank you very much indeed. Can we crack straight on? I mean, you've led technology teams across healthcare, education, transportation, and now professional sports. So how does leading technology at an NFL franchise compare with those types of businesses? What's the differences? What are the different challenges?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I wanted to say, Tim, thank you guys for having me. In looking at kind of how I approach technology, being at a club is kind of like leading multiple different organizations, right? Because a lot of our regulations and how events happen, um, in comparison to a lot of the other industries that I've been in, there's the player health and safety, right? Where you have hospital level, medical level compliance, certification, security, and everything that goes along with that. You have your everyday business, which is your standard security awareness, but then we layer on that layer of game day production and almost a live event, right? So it's one of those different aspects is that it's national, everybody's watching, and you have this level of almost live television that's layered behind game day performance. And so there's so many moving parts to the job when it comes to technology security. And definitely when we're talking about fan engagement, being able to have a stadium that can perform at a top tier level in order to give the fans what they deserve, and with those events and still maintain the back of the house, it gets to be an opportunity to kind of express all those different industries that I've been in and kind of pull from those experiences on, managing multiple facilities, managing real-time responses on things that happen within these facilities. So it's a great opportunity to kind of test your mettle when it comes to leading out technology here.
Yeah, I bet. But I mean, we have to put aside the glamour and the glitz for one moment, because you've got to get the building blocks right, just like any business, haven't you? I mean, you need the foundational architecture, you need the data right, do you not? Before you can even leverage AI effectively.
Yeah, yeah, and that's definitely the architecture of a lot of it is to um, understand we have so many data points that come in for an NFL club, right? And we share a lot of that with the NFL itself, the overarching league. But even as a club ourselves, we have our local communities, we have our events that just don't layer with just football, but concerts and things that go on within our facilities. So there's so many insights that are gathered through data, is making sure that all that data is not only secured, making sure we understand our data, and that the constant feed of that data that's coming in, that it's truly managed and properly orchestrated to be able to give us the proper insights we need to be effective in our performance. And that's everything from the fan side all the way to football and player performance and everything that goes along with the complication of leading out a quality football team.
I mean, everybody knows it's all about the data stupid. It's also all about the people stupid, and I guess nothing is different for you guys. Um, you talked about the immense amount of data and data points you have. How on earth do you go about? I mean, did you have to like clean them up when you came in? I mean, how do you manage that vast data set?
I think in its parts, the league and the clubs do a great job of managing these data points, right? You have a marketing teams, you have a football team, you have analytics team, I think my job when I came in is to figure out ways to cohese all that data across platforms, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's very well managed in it of its own individual containers, but when we want to get creative insights, when we're talking about gathering data for food and beverage, gathering data for our merchandise sales, along with ticket sales and everything around there. Now the works becomes how do we cohese this data and how do we manage to draw in some cross points that we can really pull insights from game day performance, right? How do we know what the fans like? How do we know what great opportunities to offer to fans unless we're really able to dig into the data and see, what's going on from game to game, from event to event, in order to make the changes and adjustments we need.
I want to come back to that just a little bit later because I want some behind the scenes knowledge about what's going on. But let me just sticking on data for a moment. How do you balance the innovation which you so need with all the concerns that everyone else has, security and privacy and governance?
So when I came in, my areas were heavy focuses on those areas. First of all,
Okay.
security.
Yeah.
Positioning the security team to report to me was one of the things that I did because I had a vision of making sure that not only providing the opportunity for the organization to be innovative, but to make sure that we're managing to a level that allows that innovation to be safe and secure for our organization,
Mhm.
right? We have a reputation to maintain. The
Yeah.
Bucks is a great organization, and with me at the helm, I plan to keep it that way, right? And the other side of data is just because of some of my back end experience. I did some software development. I did manage some analytics area teams, and those things are near and dear to my heart just because that's where you get your competitive edge is your data, right? No matter what organization it is, your data is going to be a driver to tell you which way to go when you need to make decisions. And to be able to be a part of helping the organization do just that, the Buccaneers are a storied organization. I mean, I came to Tampa, and I can be out on the streets at an event and I hear people talking about their history with, the stadium, coming here with family. And I love that aspect of the Buccaneers is that it's kind of a part of the community. And, you always want to be able to take that to the next level and see how we can really engage with our community, our fan base, by leveraging that data.
I was thinking you must have the most amazing job. Actually, it sounds like you've got a really scary job. Um, but look, I know you mustn't give away. I don't want any trade secrets here. But come on, give us a little bit of insight about how you're using AI to improve things on the pitch.
So right now, I'm spending a lot of time with the organization on education, right? Is getting us at every layer to understand what AI is, what it's
Uh-huh.
not,
Uh-huh.
understanding what the opportunity is for AI, and then to put together a very comprehensive plan on a more robust usage of AI. We do have some layers of AI. Most sales organization uses the chat bots and everything else that you use. But right now, we're in a stage where the organization we want to have an evolution of AI that's going to be something that's not only game changing, but an opportunity for us to put some drivers behind it, growth behind it. And when we talk that at that level, we're talking about that same steps, right? The cohesion of our data. Do we understand our data? What platforms do we want to use? What use cases do we want to start out with? And to drive the organization in those specific areas and say we're going to put all of our efforts and energy here, and then we're going to branch out from this point forward to be able to get the return on investment that we desire from the organization. There are smaller ways that we leverage AI, right? The co-pilot to be able to get the organization to drive in those understandings of just how to interact with our AI agents, a quality uh, LLM behind the scene in order to draw in that information to understand what we're getting and how to check our AI, because it's not the end all say all, and to be sure that the organization understands our responsibility behind AI results and still putting our staff and our employment first in understanding these areas, and making sure we close those security gaps behind having a tool like this in house. But then the real ramp up is these next few years as we continue to ramp forward into AI. It's really going to be what I want to have is a one-tiered focus on where's our driver. We're not going to have a bunch of different areas where we're driving in different directions, but the organization having a cohesive vision behind our AI strategy for this particular club.
Can you look ahead then and describe what you see as being the key advantages that AI is going to deliver to the Bucks?
So what I see the key advantages are just in a few areas. One is efficiency. Most of the clubs, a lot of us are smaller organizations. We don't have thousands of employees, behind the helm necessarily, but we do have some great dedicated employees. And when you start to leverage AI, the opportunity is you allow efficiency for each and every employee in their job. You get to leverage the opportunity to expand the possibilities of what the individual employee can do, because you're able to offload a lot of the things that occupy the day-to-day time, and you start to leverage a lot of the creative power that lives within your organization. So being able to create efficiencies within the organization, so we can start to do things that you most of the time didn't think was possible just because of time and resource. Now you're expanding resource with just a few simple tools that offer us the opportunity to venture in other areas. Grabbing insights, looking at things that we didn't anticipate seeing within the organization to continue to drive innovation. And I see AI as a big catalyst for that, even though in and of itself it's an innovative tool. That innovation begins to create itself because you're going to have an organization of people who are used to using AI. They see the current possibilities, and AI is wrought with the opportunity of imagination. So being able to give them that spurred on imaginations within their sphere of expertise, right? Marketing, sales, even football, is to be able to take some of that expertise, put it into AI algorithms, however you want to place it, and then give them the opportunity to take those other steps beyond what they know and to even learn from it itself. So it kind of becomes the opportunity where the AI is beginning to learn from the employees, and the next thing you know, the AI is beginning to teach back some things and some insights that we didn't know. So I find that future state AI is going to be a symbiotic thing that we're going to kind of translate all the great knowledge that you've built over time and years into a system that's going to give you some new insights into stuff that we hadn't even breached into.
Okay, so I mean, it's fascinating what you say. A lot of companies are talking about of course, the need to upskill, but there's always the worry among the people about whether it's going to replace their jobs and see them kicked out. But I guess what you say is for a company with
Yeah.
comparably fewer employees, actually the impact is to exponentially expand your workforce in a way that you couldn't have dreamt of a year or two ago, and you're finding that happening right now.
Yeah, because I think so I see AI going in the route of kind of the way the Industrial Revolution was, right?
Yeah.
You had assembly lines with a bunch of folks working on those assembly lines, and they had specific jobs that they did. You got a machine arm that starts to do that. Yeah, for a moment, the job pool shrinks, but then it's going to expand because who manages those factories? Who need the jobs are going to change. The functionality is going to change. I don't necessarily think totally the numbers are going to change, but again, this onset of AI, and I always tell people is that whatever your job is, figure out how to layer AI into it. Figure out how it impacts your particular job, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's anything. Figure it out and be willing to learn and coexist with it. Because those are the people who are going to continue to get the jobs, are the ones who are familiar and know how to use it. I mean, even in the area of software development, yes, AI is going to be able to do a lot of that, but somebody has to QA it, somebody has to understand it, somebody has to make it relevant to the current situation. And I think developers who are willing to be comfortable coexisting with AI are the ones who are going to be at the forefront of still getting the jobs in this future state of AI.
So that's a great piece of advice for the people within companies. Really quickly, because we're out of time. What would your advice, or what would your advice be to technology leaders who are still wondering how they are going to leverage AI successfully?
I would say try your best not to allow the organization to press the timeline, right?
Okay.
And learn how to educate and tell the story behind AI so that you can educate your board, your executive team, so that they can drive that message together with you, right? Is because those are the best partners within an organization. I always tell people AI projects are not IT projects, they are organizational projects. And if everybody learns to take their ownership within it, then it gives an opportunity for the organization to be the AI experts and not just the IT team. And you can really drive ROI that way.
Brilliant. We've got to end it there. Charles Harris from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thank you. A 15-minute whiz through what you're doing. It's been a fascinating insight. Thanks ever so much for joining us